In the quiet village of Ajuma, the sun rose slowly like it was tired of shining on the same troubles again and again. At the edge of the village, in a small mud house with a leaking roof, lived a 17-year-old girl named Amarachi. She was once full of laughter. Her father used to say she laughed like the wind that danced through the palm trees. But now her laughter was gone. Amarachi stood behind the house, scrubbing dirty clothes with shaking hands. Her belly had grown big. She was pregnant. And every step, every whisper in the village, reminded her. That's the girl who got pregnant without a husband. Shameful. Just like her mother. No respect. The worst voice was the one from inside her own house. Her stepmother, Mama Ego, stood by the door, arms crossed, her face full of disgust. Lazy girl, she shouted. Did I tell you to rest? Scrub those clothes well. Are you the first to carry a baby? Amarachi swallowed her tears and kept scrubbing. Mama Ego wasn't always like this. Before her father died, she pretended to care. She made sweet porridge and called Amarachi my daughter in public. But once Papa Ifani died, just one rainy morning when he didn't wake up, everything changed. Mama Ego took control of the house, threw away Amarachi's books, and gave her only one job: serve, suffer, and stay silent. Amarachi didn't plan to get pregnant. She fell in love. There was a young man named Chisholm. He was tall, smooth-talking, and dressed like he came from the city. He had a little motorbike and always smelled like perfume. He worked in a small electronics shop, helping people fix radios and chargers. He used to wait by the school gate. "Fine girl," he'd say. "Do you want to see how Lagos looks like through my phone?" She would giggle and follow him to the mango tree at the back of the village. They talked about life, dreams, and how she wanted to be a nurse. Then one day, it rained hard. The mango tree shook. Amarachi's heart was full. Chisholm whispered promises. "If anything happens, I will marry you. I swear on my head." That was the day everything changed. 2 months later, she missed her period. Mama Chica, the friendly woman next door, gave her a test. It turned blue. "You are with child," Mama Chica said gently. "What are you going to do?" Amarachi ran to Chisholm. She found him laughing with friends by the roadside. "Chisholm, I'm pregnant." He blinked, then laughed. "It's not mine." "But you said." "Are you the first girl to open leg? Go and find the real father." By the next morning, he was gone. They said he traveled to Lagos. His number no longer worked. When Mama Ego heard, her voice echoed through the whole village. "Pregnant? You dirty girl. Is this what you were doing when your father was sick in bed?" Amarachi tried to explain. But the beatings came before the words. Mama Ego used broomsticks, slippers, even hot pepper water. "This child will not bring shame to my name. If your useless mother were alive, I would slap her too." Amarachi wasn't allowed to go out. She couldn't go to church. Couldn't sit on the family mat. Couldn't eat meat or fish. Only boiled yam and dry soup. At night, she cried silently. She would hold her belly and whisper, "Don't worry, my child. One day, we will be happy. I promise." The villagers weren't kind either. Even the children pointed at her belly and laughed. "You don't have a husband. Your baby will call you sister. She's cursed." Only Mama Chica still gave her leftover akara in secret. "Don't listen to them, my dear," she said one night. "Your tears will not be wasted. One day, they will clap for you." But even Mama Chica couldn't stop what happened next. One Sunday morning, Mama Ego went to fetch firewood. On the way, she met an old prophet under a kola tree. He looked tired but wise. He held a wooden staff and had white chalk on his forehead. "Good morning, Baba," she greeted. "Good morning," he said. "I see something in your house. The one you shame will bring wealth to your feet." Mama Ego frowned. "Wealth? Amarachi? Do not despise the one with dust on her head. Sometimes, dust is gold in disguise." Mama Ego scoffed and walked off. But the word stayed in her mind like an itch. That afternoon, she passed by the market and saw Idowu, a homeless man who slept beside the gutter. He wore torn clothes, had uncombed hair, and talked only when spoken to. Every morning, he swept the market square in exchange for leftover food. The market women said he was mad. But he wasn't violent. He just looked lost. Mama Ego's eyes narrowed. "This girl needs to be disgraced completely," she whispered. "Let her marry the one below her. Then I can be free of her." She smiled. A wicked idea had taken root. That evening, she stormed into the house. "Amarachi. Tomorrow, you will meet your husband." Amarachi blinked. "Husband? Yes. You think I will keep feeding you and your bastard child? Nonsense. You will marry a man who can at least help you. Or you will sleep in the bush." "But Mama, please. Not another word." That night, Amarachi cried till her eyes swelled shut. The baby kicked gently. As if asking, "What's happening, Mama?" Morning came. A small table was set up in front of the house. 3 elders sat. A pastor from another village arrived. Amarachi was forced into her late mother's wrapper. Her hair was rushed and tied with a red ribbon. She looked up, and saw the man. Idowu. The mad-looking man from the market. Her legs shook. "No, please. Mama Ego, no. Say, I do, or sleep outside. Your choice." Amarachi looked around. No one helped. Even the sky looked away. She whispered, I do. And so, the girl they called Shame became the wife of a man who had nothing. Or so they thought. Amarachi could still hear the pastor's voice in her ears. "You are now husband and wife." But her heart refused to believe it. She sat on a broken wooden chair, her hands shaking. Her new husband, Idowu, stood beside her with his eyes on the ground. His clothes were old and stained. His slippers were different sizes. Flies danced around his back. The villagers whispered. "Ha! She married a mad man. Pregnant and now married to a beggar. Double shame." Even the children laughed. "See her husband. He smells like the gutter." Amarachi's eyes filled with tears. But Mama Ego just clapped her hands loudly and smiled. "Praise the Lord. Finally, my house is clean again." The so-called wedding had taken place under a mango tree with no cake, no music, and no joy. Only shame, fear, and dust. Mama Ego threw Amarachi's clothes in a sack and placed them by the road. "You and your mad husband will live in the old fisherman's hut by the river," she said. "If I see you back here, I will call the village boys to chase you out." Amarachi carried her load slowly. Her feet were bare. Her heart was heavy. Her stomach ached from hunger and sadness. Idowu walked beside her, still silent. He didn't touch her. Didn't speak. Just walked. When they reached the hut, Amarachi gasped. The door was falling off. The floor had holes. The window was just an empty space. Rats ran across the wall. Amarachi sat on the cold ground and wept. "How did I end up like this?" she whispered. "Father, are you watching from heaven?" Idowu disappeared for a while. When he returned, he was carrying firewood and a small bag of roasted groundnuts. "Eat," he said gently. His voice surprised her. It wasn't mad. It wasn't loud. It was calm. She looked up at him. "Why are you helping me?" He sat on a rock, far from her. "Because I know what it feels like to be thrown away." That night, Idowu gave Amarachi his only blanket. He slept near the door, using his hands as a pillow. He didn't try to touch her. Didn't complain. Amarachi couldn't sleep. The baby kicked again. Maybe it was hungry. She ate 2 groundnuts and closed her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. Idowu didn't reply. But she saw the corner of his mouth lift slightly. A tiny smile. The next day, word spread across the village. Amarachi is now Madame Gutter wife. Maybe her child will call frogs uncle. The market women laughed loudest. She thought she was fine before. Now look at her. But Amarachi stayed quiet. Each morning, Idowu would leave early. He swept the market. Fetched water for old people. Cleaned the community well. People still laughed. But some started to whisper. "That madman is actually respectful. He fixed my broken stool yesterday. He doesn't beg. He works." Even Mama Chica noticed. She began sending Amarachi small plates of okra soup and clean water. "You have a good heart, my child," she said. "Don't give up." One evening, a black car parked at the edge of the village. It was strange, shiny, clean, and didn't belong here. Inside, a man in glasses stepped out. He wore city clothes and held a photo. He asked the elders, "Have you seen this man?" They shrugged. "Looks like one of those Lagos people." But Mama Chica, who was passing by, looked at the photo closely. She froze. "Wait, that face, it looks like Idowu." The man's eyes widened. He wrote something in a small book and got back into the car. The engine roared, and the car disappeared. Weeks passed. Amarachi began to change. She fetched firewood. Sold pure water by the roadside. Picked mangoes to trade for Gary. Idowu helped her without asking. They never talked much, but there was peace between them. A quiet kind of friendship. One afternoon, she slipped while walking and nearly fell. Idowu caught her. Their eyes met. And in that 1 second, something passed between them. Something warm. But peace didn't last long. Mama Ego came to the hut one morning, shouting loud enough for the sky to hear. "Give me back my wrapper and my basin," she screamed. "You thief!" She entered without knocking and began dragging Amarachi's things. Idowu stepped forward, gently but firmly. "You have said enough," he said. Mama Ego laughed. "Look at this mad man. Are you talking to me?" He didn't raise his voice. He just stood tall. "Leave this house." Mama Ego spat. "Soon, I will send police to chase both of you." She stormed off, leaving behind dust and anger. That night, Amarachi cried again. "I don't belong anywhere," she said. "Not even here. Maybe I should run away." Idowu looked at her. "You belong here. You belong with your child. Don't let anyone take that from you." She nodded slowly. "Why are you so kind?" she asked. He didn't answer. He just reached into his sack and handed her something wrapped in cloth. She opened it, baby clothes. Tiny, clean, new. She gasped. "Where did you get these?" "I saved for them. A child deserves something fresh." Amarachi held the clothes to her chest. Her heart whispered something she didn't understand yet. Was it hope? Later that night, when Amarachi was asleep, Idowu sat outside under the moon. He took out an old, torn photo. In the photo was a young man in a suit standing beside a rich-looking man and woman. He touched the young man's face in the photo. "Soon, father. But not yet. Let them see who I am, without money." From the window, Amarachi watched him quietly. Who was this man she had married? The sun rose again over the village of Ajuma, spreading golden light across the rusty rooftops and dusty footpaths. But Amarachi didn't notice the light anymore. She was too busy surviving. She tied her wrapper tight, balanced a tray of mangoes on her head, and walked to the village square. Her back hurt. Her belly was heavier now. The baby inside kicked often. Sometimes it felt like it was trying to speak. "Mama, are we going to be okay?" "Yes," Amarachi whispered back. "We will be okay." But truthfully, she didn't know. In the early days of her marriage to Idowu, people laughed and pointed. Now, some didn't laugh anymore. They watched. They noticed how Idowu fixed the village borehole, even though no one asked him. How he helped Mama Kemi carry her firewood. How he sat under the almond tree and told children folktales instead of begging for food. Even the chief's wife said, "That beggar is not like the others. There's something in his eyes. A kind of light." Idowu never shouted. Never cursed. Never hit her. Not once. Every night, he made a small fire and boiled water so she could clean her swollen feet. He made her a chair from bamboo sticks. He used palm fronds to fix holes in their roof. He didn't say much, but Amarachi began to understand his silence. He was a listener. A watcher. A thinker. And he carried pain. She could see it in the way he stared at the stars at night, like they were holding secrets only he could understand. One hot afternoon, the children of the village ran screaming. "Car! Car! Black car again!" The black jeep rolled in quietly, parking under the same almond tree. Inside sat the man with glasses. He stepped out, holding the same photo. He didn't speak to anyone. He just watched. Then, he saw Idowu. For a moment, their eyes met. Idowu blinked. The man nodded once, respectfully. Then he got back in the car, and drove off. Amarachi saw everything. That night, she asked gently. "Do you know him?" Idowu stared at the fire. "Not anymore," he whispered. Rain came suddenly one evening, loud, wild, angry. The wind tore off the hut's roof. The baby clothes flew into the mud. Water rushed in through the door. Amarachi screamed. "The baby! It's coming!" She grabbed her belly and fell to her knees. Idowu ran to her. He placed his arms around her and lifted her gently. He carried her through the flood to Mama Chica's house, knocking like the sky was falling. "Please! Help us!" Mama Chica opened the door and screamed when she saw Amarachi in pain. They placed her on a mat. Mama Chica boiled hot water, wiped her face, and whispered prayers. Idowu held Amarachi's hand. "You can do this," he said softly. The pain came in waves. Amarachi bit her lip. Sweat rolled down her face. "I can't," she cried. "Yes, you can," Mama Chica said. With one final cry, the baby came. A baby girl. Soft. Pink. Crying like a small drumbeat in the wind. Amarachi sobbed and laughed at the same time. Idowu held the baby and wrapped her gently in a cloth. "You're strong," he said. "Both of you." Amarachi looked at him with tears. "She has no father's name." He looked at her and said, "Let her carry mine." The next morning, the whole village came out. The story of Amarachi giving birth in the storm spread like wildfire. People stood in front of Mama Chica's house, staring. She did it. She survived. That beggar was the one who carried her. Mama Idowu stood at the back, arms crossed. But even she was quiet. The baby was named Chidima, God is good. And that day, the villagers gave gifts, plantain, small wrappers, even tiny bangles. The chief invited Idowu to fix his broken fence. When he did it in just one day, the chief shook his hand and said, "You work like a man who builds palaces." The primary school asked him to speak to the children about hard work. He told them stories, and they clapped. The youths asked him to teach them how to make bamboo stools like the one he made for Amarachi. He said yes. But at night, alone, Idowu still sat by the riverside. He still stared at the sky. Amarachi watched him once. She walked up to him. "You don't sleep much." "Too many thoughts," he said. "About the man in the jeep?" He looked at her for a long time. Then said, "What if you married a man who wasn't who he said he was?" Amarachi frowned. "What do you mean?" "What if the man you married was hiding, not madness, but something else?" She sat beside him. "I would still be grateful. Because even in hiding, he gave me peace." He looked at her with eyes full of something like gratitude. Or was it love? The next day, Idowu was gone. His blanket, his stool, his photo, gone. Amarachi searched the village. No one had seen him. She ran to Mama Chica's house, crying. "He left me. He left us." Just then, a letter was found under the baby's cloth. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside, it read, "I will return soon. But when I do, the world will know who I am. Idowu." The sun over Ajuma village rose quietly that morning. But inside Amarachi's heart, everything felt loud. She sat on the front step of Mama Chica's house, holding her baby, Chidima, close to her chest. She had read Idowu's letter over and over again. "I will return soon. But when I do, the world will know who I am." What did it mean? Why did he leave? Where did he go? Amarachi's heart was broken again. Not like before. This one felt different. Because this time, she had started to hope. 3 days after Idowu vanished, Mama Idowu appeared again. She wore a new headscarf and walked like a queen, her voice loud as ever. "So now, your mad husband has left you too. Ihen. I warned you. Did I not say he was mad?" She looked around at the few people gathered under the mango tree. Please clap for Amarachi, the cursed girl, pregnant by one man, married to a beggar, and now abandoned with a bastard child. The villagers didn't laugh this time. Even Mama Kemi whispered, "This woman has no fear of God." Mama Chica stood up. "That's enough, Idowu. This girl has gone through enough already." But Mama Idowu just hissed and walked away, muttering, "Let me not hear this baby cries near my house again." That same evening, dust filled the road. A black jeep, shiny and powerful, rolled into the village and stopped in front of the chief's compound. From it stepped a tall man with gray hair and gold-rimmed glasses. Chief Adewale. He was known in the newspapers. Owner of Adewale Holdings. A billionaire. A man who built schools, hospitals, and roads in Lagos. Why was he here? 2 more cars followed behind him. Out came lawyers. Assistants. One of them held a picture frame. Another held a briefcase. The village went silent. The chief came out of his hut, shocked. "Sir, welcome, but what brings you to Ajuma?" Chief Adewale held up a photo. "I am looking for my son." The chief took the photo. It was a younger version of Idowu. Clean-shaven, well-dressed, standing in front of a big white mansion. The chief blinked. "Wait, this is the beggar we know. He sleeps near the market." Adewale nodded. His eyes were full of sadness. "His name is Oluwaseun Idowu Adewale, my only son." "But sir," one elder said, "why would a billionaire's son live like a madman?" The whole village gathered. Even Mama Ego was there, mouth open, wrapper loose. Chief Adewale spoke. "5 years ago, my son left Lagos. He said he was tired of fake friends, gold diggers, and family members who only cared about money. He said, 'Let me disappear. Let me see who will treat me like a human being, not a bank.' He left his phone. His ID. Everything. We searched everywhere. But he didn't want to be found. Then one of my men showed me a photo of him in this village. Sweeping market floors. Sleeping by the gutter." The crowd gasped. "He told me he would only return when he found someone who could love him without knowing his name." Just then, the sound of a motorbike echoed. Heads turned. A young man rode in on a black motorcycle. Clean clothes. Leather sandals. White native wear. New haircut. Amarachi dropped her water bowl. "Idowu?" He got down. Smiled. But this time, he didn't look poor. He looked royal. The villagers gasped again. Even Mama Ego covered her mouth. He walked straight to Amarachi. "I told you I'd come back." She blinked. "So it's true? You're a billionaire?" He smiled softly. "I was always me. But I wanted someone to love me when I had nothing." He knelt beside her and the baby. "You did. Even when I gave you pain, you gave me peace. That's why I'm here." He looked at Chief Adewale. "Father, meet your granddaughter, Chidima." Chief Adewale knelt and cried. "Thank you, Amarachi. You brought my son back." Mama Ego stepped forward, forcing a smile. "Ah. My in-law. You see? I knew this girl was special. Amarachi. My sweet child." The crowd turned. Mama Chica chuckled. Amarachi stood. "No, Mama Ego. When I had nothing, you gave me nothing. You beat me. Mocked me. Threw me out. Don't call me your child now that I am standing." Mama Ego tried to talk. I was just." Idowu stepped in front of her. "Don't worry. I won't punish you. But you will never touch my wife or my daughter again." He turned to the crowd. "This village laughed at her. But she is the one who clothed me, fed me, respected me, even when I looked like a madman. Let her be your lesson." 3 weeks later, a new house was built where the old hut used to be. Painted white. With a garden. It was Amarachi's. She refused to move to Lagos right away. "I want to stay here for now," she said. "Let them see that the one they threw away has returned standing." She opened a small shop with her name, Chidima Stores. She helped young girls with no parents. Idowu worked with the village youths to teach them skills, woodwork, welding, farming. One night, Idowu received a letter. It was from a lawyer. It said, "Your father has handed over 45% of Adewale holdings to you, as promised." But Idowu wrote back. "Give 30% to a foundation for pregnant village girls." He didn't tell Amarachi. Not yet. He just looked at her, smiling as she breastfed their daughter under the mango tree. He whispered to himself. "She gave me everything when I had nothing. I will spend my life giving her everything." They used to call her the girl with shame in her belly. Now, they called her Madame Amarachi. The hut by the riverside was gone. In its place stood a clean white bungalow with a red roof, glass windows, and a carved wooden door. At the entrance, a sign read, "Welcome to Chidimma's home, where love lives." Inside, laughter filled the air. The once-forgotten girl now lived like a queen, but not because of riches. No. It was because of peace. Because of healing. Because her past no longer controlled her future. The house had 3 bedrooms, a water tank, and a wide porch with flower pots. Every stone was laid by the same hands that once swept the village market, Idowu's hands. He refused to let the workers do it all. "Let me build it," he said. "Every wall will remind us where we started." Amarachi smiled at him one morning while watching him paint the fence. "You're still working like a poor man." He looked up and winked. "That's how you fell in love with me, remember?" She laughed. Really laughed, for the first time in years. Word spread fast across Ajuma village. Everyone wanted to visit. People brought gifts. Some came just to look. Some to apologize. Even Mama Ego came again, her voice suddenly soft. "Amarachi, my dear, your late father would be proud. Please forgive your mother." Amarachi didn't shout. She didn't scream. She simply stood tall and said, "Mama Ego, I forgave you already. But I will not let you hurt me again. Your place is not in my home. It is in your heart to change." Mama Ego walked away quietly. For the first time, with no pride in her steps. Idowu and Amarachi didn't just build a house. They built a school. The Chidimma Foundation School, free for all children, especially orphans, pregnant teens, and those abandoned like Amarachi once was. The same villagers who mocked her now clapped for her. She is blessing the same place that cursed her. This is real greatness. Even the chief offered land for expansion. The once mad man was now called Oga Son, the man who made Ajuma famous. Amarachi opened a women's center with Mama Chica as director. There, young girls came to learn tailoring, soap making, and even basic English. She stood before them one morning and said, "I was once like you. Ashamed. Abandoned. Mocked. But look at me now. Not because of money, but because I never stopped believing. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle." The room clapped. Some cried. That day, 3 girls refused to run away from their pregnancies. They said, "If Amarachi can rise, maybe we can too." A year passed. Chidimma stood on her chubby feet, clapping her hands, shouting, "Papa! Papa!" Idowu picked her up and spun her around as music played. The whole village was invited to her birthday. Rice, jollof, mwamwa, meat, zobo. Even people from Lagos came. One reporter from a TV station asked Amarachi, "Madam, what would you like to say to the world?" She held Chidimma close and looked into the camera. "Don't throw people away just because they are dirty. Even diamonds are found in the ground." Later that night, after the guests left, Idowu brought Amarachi to the back of the house. A small lantern lit up a square of land with a white cloth over something. "Close your eyes," he said. She did. When she opened them, she gasped. It was a plaque. "To Amarachi, the woman who loved me before the world did." Tears filled her eyes. She turned to him. "You built all this, for me?" He held her hand. "You gave me a home when I had none. A name when I lost mine. A child when I thought I'd never have one. This is only the beginning." He pulled out a small golden ring. "Not because I needed saving. Not because I was pretending. But because I truly love you. Will you marry me again, this time, for real?" Her tears spilled over. Yes. 1,000 times, yes. A real wedding was held. Proper clothes. Real cake. Choir songs. No whispers. No mockery. The same elders who mocked Amarachi now danced at her feet. Mama Chica wiped her eyes and said, God lifted her from dust and crowned her with glory. Never judge people by their clothes or where they sleep. Some kings wear rags to find true hearts. And some girls called shame, become queens in silence. This is the story of Amarachi, the orphan, the rejected, the mocked, who became the light of her village. She married a man they called a beggar. But in the end, he was her biggest blessing. Remember, no one is too small to rise. No heart is too broken to heal. If this story touched you, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let someone out there know, their story isn't over yet.